The AST Voltson Super Trucks is back at the Winston Speedway this week. The track will once again host the 5th race of the season, but there have been some major renovations done to the facility since the last time we were here. The track surface has been completely rebuilt, from the underlying foundation to the clay surface itself. An outside wall has been added to the perimeter of the speedway, and there is a new pit area on the outside of turns 3 and 4. It'll be interesting to see if the racing that is produced here tonight will differ in any way from what we have seen in the past few seasons. Leading the field to the start for the first time in his AST Voltson Super Trucks career is Wilson Timothy in the 61 SAR. The Binford Racing Team driver scored his best career finish at this track last year, and even after the track was essentially rebuilt, it appears that he is just as fast this weekend. Starting from the pole, Darrell Quick started in 3rd and moves past Jeffrey Jackson on the start. Jackson started on the outside of the front row for the best qualifying run of his career, and as you can see, his teammate Jenny Jackson qualified in 4th and started right behind him. The two homegrown racers drivers did very well at Terre Haute last year, where they both scored top 5s and qualified very well here tonight, so they seem to have some very good ability on these dirt tracks. Kevin Thompson runs in the 3rd position on the start and continues to show the impressive speed that we never really saw from him in his first 2 seasons in the series. Right behind him is his good friend and fellow dirt track racer John White. Conversely to Thompson, White has not had a very good start to the 2016 season, and he is hoping to turn that around here tonight with a good start to the race. The 86 truck for Jinx Racing Development visited Victory Lane at Nelson Ledges when the series was in action a couple weeks ago, and this week and for the rest of the season, it will be driven by North Carolina's Adam Ramirez. The Hickory Motor Speedway driver is under development for AJA Racing, and he's going to get involved in the first caution of the day. Hunter Blaze got turned down into him by Camden Rhodes. The 86 truck nearly went spinning as well, but got it back under control. Riding on board John Bennett in the 58, with Ramirez on his inside and Rhodes on his outside. There's the 62 making contact with the left rear quarter panel of Blaze's truck and turning him down the track. We're going to get another look at this from the aerial shot. The 62 makes a move to the inside of Blaze, but by the time he does so, Bennett has filled the gap that was to his inside, and there isn't enough room for him to avoid hitting the 71. Unfortunately for Blaze, he is going to get the worst of that situation, although there hasn't been much damage done with the 71. After the restart, Darrell Quick goes to the inside of Wilson Timothy in turns 3 and 4 in an effort to take the lead of the race. Quick, of course, is the very driver that Timothy and the rest of the field are all trying to chase down in the point standings. Quick going for his 3rd consecutive championship in this series. He clears Timothy for the top spot 1 lap later, and right before they take the caution flag, the yellow is out again. And let's take a look at what happened to bring it out. Amberly Weiss is going to lose control of the truck going into turn number 1. She self-spins into the outside wall, and that's really going to set her back. A big shame for Weiss. We were expecting her to be more of a contender this weekend, considering her past record of finishing very well on these dirt tracks in the AST Voltson Super Trucks. But she is now at the back of the field and has a lot of damage to the rear of the 75 truck. She's going to pit to get some repairs made, but Team Michigan is going to employ an interesting strategy here. They only work on the truck for a matter of moments before sending her back on track. She barely beats the pace truck and stays on the lead lap. It looks like the team is trying to keep her on the lead lap by only working on the car for a few moments before sending her back out and bringing her back in the next lap. We see this strategy used at some bigger speedways in the upper leagues of stock car racing, where pace laps can take several minutes, but not down here on a 3/8 mile short track, and unfortunately for Weiss, it's not going to work out for her. She needs to pit one more time for further repairs, and by the time that occurs, the green flag is back out, and you saw John White pit right in front of her 1 lap after the restart. From 3rd place, something has gone wrong on the 06 truck, and that's a huge disappointment for him. White was finally having a good run for the first time all year. This will leave Wilson Timothy and Darrell Quick to battle for the lead with each other after the restart. Timothy trying to take the top spot back. Normally when Quick inherits the lead of a race, he does not relinquish it, but the 61 truck is back out in front. Danny Vigo is the next driver to make a run on Quick, as he has moved his way to the front. Vigo failed to qualify for Nelson Ledges a couple of weeks ago, and he must have been very, very upset about that. He has charged his way all the way up into 2nd, and trying to make up all the points that he lost by not starting race 4. Zach Churchill also working his way forward, and he too missed the race at Nelson Ledges, as did Jenny Jackson, who is running in 5th. She of course started in the top 5, so she's been up here most of the race. All these drivers who missed the show at Nelson Ledges seem to be extra motivated to do well tonight, and they are putting on great performances. Jenny Jackson's older brother Jeffer has fallen a bit further down the order after starting on the front row, but still has a top 10 run going. He's currently battling with Adam Ramirez, who has recovered very well from the first caution, and this bright red truck of Lester McPhail, who is making his series debut here tonight. McPhail, a street stocks racer from the Kalamazoo Speedway, ran out of funding to continue racing in that class at that track. He's tried to get his own team off the ground for the Super Trucks for a while, and has finally managed to put together a truck, but only barely so, it would seem. It's not the nicest looking truck in the field, nor is it the most powerful, but he's driven it into the top 10, doing an exceptional job, although he's starting to fall back a bit. John Bennett and Brian Kelly go by him in a 3-wide situation. Kelly restarted outside the top 20, and has worked his way all the way up into the top 10 now, showing just as much speed as his teammate does. Back at the front of the field, Wilson Timothy is pulling away from Danny Vigo and has caught the lap truck of John White, although White is still running at speed with Timothy, so he's not really holding him up. And considering that he's running at the same pace as the race leader, you have to wonder how well he would be doing had he not had to pit for that problem he experienced earlier. Adam Ramirez and Brian Kelly now do battle for the 10th position. We're not sure if Ramirez has any past dirt racing experience, but he's doing a very respectable job here tonight. JRD is running in Isani this week. The 86 was a Lycoya and Nelson Ledges, but it will be an Isani for the rest of the season, so we now have 2 of those trucks in the field, the Japanese manufacturer new to the AST Voltson Super Trucks this year. Michael McKinley runs in the 6th position and is having a very quiet run here today. He of course won this very race last year and is trying to get by Jenny Jackson to move into the top 5. McKinley's had some good runs this year, but hasn't been back to victory lane yet. Not far behind him is the 96 truck of Chris Washer, who is back in the Voltson Super Trucks for the rest of the season, having just recently completed his first campaign in the Dash Cup Aspira Junior Series. Washer doing a very good job here tonight, considering that that before Toledo this year he hadn't raced one of these trucks in nearly 2 years. Wilson Timothy has now caught the back of the field, or I should say John White has, because he's gotten around Hunter Blaze before Timothy has, and now the 61 truck puts Blaze a lap down. The next truck to fall off the lead lap is the 87 of Samantha Spires, the 3rd debutante driver in tonight's race. Northeast Racing, the team for which he drives, also making its first start. They were both supposed to be at Nelson Ledges, but Binford Racing Team, ironically, Binford's Timothy is lapping her right now, bought out the 87 truck to put Amy Robinson behind the wheel. But Spires and Northeast Racing are both here and in action this weekend, although unfortunately for them, it's not a very good debut race for them. Camden Rhodes and Brianna Prinzhorn are battling with each other for position, but are both in danger of falling off the lead lap. Neither of these drivers are having nearly as good of a race as their teammates. Danny Vigo and Zach Churchill still run 2nd and 4th respectively, as Lester McPhail, trying to hold off Alex DeFranco, has fallen outside the top 10, but is still doing a very good job considering how underpowered his truck has appeared to be all weekend long. Brian Kelly is still on the move as he picks up another spot from Chris Washer in the 96, storming his way to the front. We've seen Kelly do this year already at MIS and at Toledo to pick up a couple of 3rd place finishes, and here tonight he continues to show his ability to work his way through traffic. He now sets his sights on Michael McKinley, who has still not been able to put up a fight to Jenny Jackson in the 501. Nick Moss currently runs in the 9th position, and right behind him in 10th is Daniela Jacobson. It's good to see these 2 drivers having good runs. Moss has not finished in the top 10 since his debut race at MIS, and Jacobson hasn't finished in the top 10 once all year despite having some fast trucks. Her luck has not really gone her way, but she and Moss are both having good runs here tonight. Danny Vigo is beginning to work his way around the lap traffic that Wilson Timothy has put behind him in his efforts to chase down the 61 truck for the lead of the race. Vigo trying to get around Samantha Spires at the moment, but as you can see further down the track, Timothy is putting lap trucks behind him much too quickly for Vigo to have a chance at catching up. Timothy has not lost any speed since the restart, and he now takes the white flag to begin the final lap around the track. And whoa, he almost lost control of the truck in turn number 1, and right behind him, Juan Cortez did. Let's take a look at the replay. The 61 truck loses the back end on corner entry and almost spins around, and then Cortez self-spins into the wall right behind him, right after losing a lap. But Timothy keeps the truck under control, brings it around to the checkered flag, and wins the first race of his AST Voltson Super Trucks career. The former FARC DMR Regional Cup driver brings Binford Racing Team their first victory in the series. Danny Vigo finishes in second, and after failing to qualify for Nelson Ledges, a great run like this is exactly what the 80 team needs. Daryl Quick, the points leader, finishes in third, Zach Churchill in fourth, and Jenny Jackson in fifth. Those two drivers also missed the race at Nelson Ledges. 3 of your top 5 finishers didn't even get to race last week, and they are all coming back with a vengeance. Michael McKinley finishes in 6th after a quiet and great run of his own. Brian Kelly works all the way up into 7th, so 2 very good results for Binford Racing Team. Nick Moss finishes in 8th for the second top 10 of his career after getting around Chris Washer, who falls back to 9th. This is Washer's first top 10 finish since this very race in 2014, and Daniela Jacobson rounds out the top 10 with her first top 10 finish of the season.